Choosing a charity to donate to is a big deal. You should make sure it's a good one. And depending on the cause you decide to support, there might be dozens or even hundreds of charities fighting for it. Let me tell you the story of something called the Play Pump. Invented in 1994 in South Africa, it's basically a children's merry-go-round that functions like a windmill water pump. As the children play, the play pump would pump and store up to 1,400 litres. It started to gain traction in the early 2000s with support from Beyonce and Jay-Z all the way to Barbara Bush and the Clinton Foundation.
A simple idea, but the best ideas usually are. And it's made ripples well beyond Africa.
There were, however, some problems. As pointed out by The Guardian, children would have to play for around 27 hours a day just to pump enough water for the community. Maintenance was also difficult in low-resource settings, and the play pumps, which were now being walked around in circles by the women of these villages, were actually less effective than the traditional hand pumps that they replaced. The people at Play Pump acknowledged their mistakes and asked donors to pull their support. But not every story like that has a happy ending, and there are still thousands of charities doing ineffective work but continue to be well funded. So, how do we guarantee that we don't donate to another play pump? Today, I'm going to tell you the secret to giving your money to the best charities working for the causes that you care about. They're called Charity Evaluators, and they're a really good idea. Let's get into it. Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Adam, and this is Making a Difference. So, charity evaluators are a good idea. But what are they? A charity evaluator is a meta-charity that analyzes the impact of programs run by other charities from all around the world. They evaluate the numbers and break down where your money's going. Before charity evaluators became a thing, you couldn't really blame someone for not doing their research. It wasn't easy finding out how effective a charity was. You had to do all the work yourself. The first sort of beta meta charity was a website called Charity Navigator. Before the advent of more recent ones, Charity Navigator offered the best information at the time on different charities. Their one criterion was what percentage of your donations go to the projects and how much go to the overheads. Two numbers. Some information, but definitely not enough to compare how truly effective a charity might be. Charity evaluators have evolved a lot since then. Giving credit where it's due, Charity Navigator even look at 3 different criteria now. There are a whole host of new methods and new evaluators that help you tackle causes like childhood malnutrition, protecting the environment, and reducing animal suffering, and point you to the best charities tackling them. And investigate where their money goes, which has evolved a lot in the last few years, with new metrics of cost effectiveness emerging all the time. The underlying ideas of what we look for in a cause or charity as an effective altruist have informed the methods by which these meta-charities operate and rank them. Namely, scale, tractability, neglectedness, and personal fit. They'll find an audience who care about doing good, then they'll find agreed upon changes that they want to see happen. Next, they'd narrow the scope to key causes and charities working on them. But you need some measurable outcome that points to the impact that they'll make. Some popular metrics used are quality adjusted life years, animal suffering spared, or number of lives saved, to name a few. Then comes the in-depth investigation into all the money spent, the randomized control trialing, the sustainability, the room for more funding, how neglected a cause is, who the beneficiaries will be, and all kinds of complex and context-sensitive information that helps us decide where our money should go. And finally, with their audience, scope, metrics decided, and the evaluations complete, they rank them in nice, easy-to-digest lists of goodness. Well, the information is easy to digest. The charity work still breaks your heart. This is still a pretty young field, and as you might expect, there is some controversy in the thinking, and different evaluators have different standards. Deciding between one cause or another is always going to be a tough decision, but one we have to make if we're going to do the most good possible. Some of the best charity evaluators around today will be linked down below, like Giving What We Can, The Life You Can Save, Animal Charity Evaluators, and the Open Philanthropy Project. And that last one was initially incubated by our final charity evaluator, GiveWell, who do things a little differently, and maybe best. GiveWell started about 10 years ago. Holden Karnofsky and Eli Hassenfeld started on a single question: where should I donate my money? It's a good question. Since 2007, they have given progress reports several times a year talking about the changes they are making and why. For example, they began as a broad-based charity evaluator that focused on raw cost effectiveness. With experience comes knowledge, and after researching hundreds of charities, they decided that the best ones were focusing on one cause in particular: helping the poor. More specifically, they would advocate for charities helping the extreme poor in the developing world. These, as they state, are the most cost-effective interventions for improving the quality of life of those who need it most. They work incredibly hard at what they do and have maintained their principle of finding the best charities around throughout, but particularly for individual donors. Almost 2/3 of all donations made to support the global poor are made by individual donors, like you or me. And they believe that that is the most sustainable way to fund charities. That's why they have fewer ranked charities and a more specific cause, but are, as I said, truly some of the best donations you can make. Before we finish up here, I want to acknowledge that there are limitations to this process. There is and always will be room for improvement. But the improvements in evaluators we've seen in the last decade alone are definitely not the last. They're always getting better at reflecting our priorities as donors and honing the science required to make your donations count as much as possible. Giving to a charity is a really good feeling, and investing in creative and effective solutions is immensely satisfying. But remember that not all charities are equally good, and we have a secret weapon for choosing the best ones around. Okay, that's it. I'll see you soon. Another thing you might be asking is, do these charity evaluators also help you donate? Of course they do. You can either donate directly to their ranked charities, or you can donate to the charity evaluator themselves, and they will distribute that money to their top charities to benefit the causes and people who need it most. Remember, have a look in the description down below.